Good evening. I'm going to look at creating a custom label for one that's not already in our system. I'm using Microvellum OEM 2020, but this procedure can be done with 2019, 2018. Should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to be using the Microvellum Report Designer, and I'm going to be taking a report that we already have, or a label that I've already got in our system, and just modifying it instead of creating something from scratch. This is going to be the fastest and the easiest way to do this. And most of the information that's on these already existing labels is going to be what I need to show on this new label. So what prompted this video is I have a customer that I recently sold, and we're getting everything implemented. And he has a label that he uses that's 4 inches wide and 2.5 inches tall, and which is 100 millimeters by 60 millimeters. And in our system, we have 4 inch by 1 inch and 4 inch by 2 inch, and other various sizes, but we don't have the 4 inch by 2.5 inch or the 100 by 60 millimeters. We do have a 100 by 70 millimeters. And so I'm just going to show you the process using our library, using our report designer. So I have Microvellum open. I don't have a particular project open, or I'm going to start a new project. You need this, you don't need this. It's one of those things. I was doing this when I was going through and figuring this out. So I'm going to do it just because. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into projects, and I'm going to right click on my projects and say add a new project. And I'm going to name this project. So my next one in my list is 1013 MV label test. I'm going to call this 6, and we'll say video. So I know that this is for this one. And you can see I have a few other tests. I was making sure things were working correctly before I did this video. And now I'm going to click OK. And it's going to do our standard project protocols where it goes through and copies and creates a template. What I am going to do for testing things is I'm going to start, once this project is created, I'm just going to save and close. I don't care about setting up any parameters. I'm going to start a new room. And I'm just going to go with the default room 1. And I'm going to go with the standard template. And then I'm going to drop one single cabinet in here once this template loads. Doesn't really matter which cabinet. I'm just going to create a work order from this. So I'm going to say let's draw a 2-door base. And I'm going to right click and say let's put it at a selected point. Now you probably don't have to do this. This is just the workflow that I have come up with, because I like to test things and make sure that they work. I don't like to just edit it and then cross my fingers and hope that I'm going to have no problems. So this is just drawing the 1 2-door cabinet. I just went with the default sizes. Nothing has really been changed or altered. And now I'm going to go into create a work order from the drawing. I'm going to select this cabinet, and I'm going to hit enter, and my cabinet's already selected. Everything that needs to be selected is here, and I'm going to just process this as a work order. And what this is going to do is it's going to process all the labels that I currently have, and like I would if I was sending this to the machine. So this is the next step in sending it to the machine. Once this work order has been processed, I'm going to take a look at it. And I'm going to pull this up on my screen up here. All right, and I have all these parts and pieces, so I'm going to select them all. I'm going to say I'd like to send them to the nest. I could have just selected them here. I'm going to assign the nest to all of the parts, so you can see it's been assigned right here. And I'm going to process this as my B1 work order. It's going to take not that long because it is one cabinet. All right, and then I am going to go into labels, And right here you can see this is my current product label. So these are the 4 product labels that we have. And then if I go down, here's my current, there's two settings here. So there's a current part label. And right now I'm going to actually come back down to this one, which is this 100 by 70. Well, here, I'm going to show you the 1 by 4 or 4 by 1 inch first. But then, so there's 2 different ones to choose from here. So I'm doing the current label. But if you were doing auto labeling, you would go down to the next one. Is this current auto label, and then you'd pick that one. So in that case, I'm going to pick the 1 by 4. We'll say roll feed, and let's do the same thing. I just keep it consistent. And now if I want to see a print preview of these guys, I'm going to go into part labels and print preview, and it's going to show us what this looks like. And again, it's coming down on my bottom screen here. So this is the label. These are all the way, this is all the way it's oriented. This is 4 inches wide and 1 inch tall. We remember need 4 inches wide and 2.5 inches tall. So, or 100 by 70, or sorry, 100 by 60. So I'm going to look through my reports here. So I'm going to look through my labels, and I'm going to stay in my current label. I'm not going to do the auto one. And I'm going to see, is there anything that's going to get me close? This is the best way to start something custom. Start with something that's going to get you close. It's not going to take that much editing to change, and it's going to get you there the quickest. So I'm looking through. I have a 4 inch, I have a 3 by 3 label that's a roll feed. I have a 4 by 2 that's a roll feed, an 80 by 80, 95. We've got a lot of different options, but up here at the top, notice I have a 100 by 70 roll feed. Now I have, actually, sorry, the one that says Atom, these are all ones that I've customized to fix for this. But see, I have this 100 by 70. This is the default one that's in Microvellum. So I'm going to just select this, and I'm going to say, let me see what this looks like. And it's going to bring up that label that's the 100 by 70 in my other screen. So here's what it looks like. So we have a large label. Now this is 100 or 4 inches by 70, which is probably close to 3 inches. But I need to take off 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter. So we're going to take off, we're going to lop off about this much. So what's going to happen here is this, and what happens in between here that you don't see is there's actually a barcode here and a barcode here. You'll see that when we get into the report, the report editor. But so there's some rearranging that can happen in this label if I were to chop off the bottom 10 centimeter or 10 millimeters. So I think this is a good one to start with. So I'm gonna maybe just for kicks, I'm gonna take a snippet of this because I don't really need to. I'm just gonna do this just in case I want to look at it, because when we open up the report designer, and I'm going to just pull this snippet or minimize it. When I open the report designer, it's not going to look like this. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go to toolbox setup, and I'm going to go down right here where it says report designer, and I'm going to go into the one right at the bottom where it says design placed part label report. And down here at the bottom, sorry, I have 2 screens, it's just popping up at the bottom. This is my report designer start, but down here at the bottom is kind of where we're going to get started. So we have the first one, the closest to the left, it says new report from existing, new report from scratch, open a report if we wanted to see a report that was already done, or so I'm going to go new report from existing. Click new, and it's going to give us the list of all these. These are all the ones that we were just looking at before, but these are the default ones. And I'm going to select part labels, the one that didn't have Atom next to it, so that I can start from scratch again and show you guys how I did it. So I'm going to click OK. And it pulls open a dialog box, and this is basically, hey, let's do the name. So in this case, I'm going to say part labels 100 by, this is actually going to be 60. And just for the sake of this video, like if I was doing this for custom, I wouldn't put Atom next to it, but I'm going to say Atom video version 1, so we know that that's the one that we want. So that's that. That's right. We do have to pick the database. I'm going to just hit Microvellum Factory, and I'm going to click OK. Now it's asking me to select a work order, and I was trying to figure out if this was because it was only editing, you know, the current job that I'm in, or if it was kind of editing everything. And I found out that it is editing everything, even though it's asking you for a work order. So I'm just going to pick the work order in the one that I've started for this demonstration as the one I want to use. And what this is doing is it's just pulling open data that it can look at, so that's not giving us a whole bunch of blank things. So this is what we were just looking at. You can see they're the same ones. This is how you would print reports if you wanted to print a report without having to open up. I didn't know you could do this before I did this video. Without opening up the work orders, if you wanted to just print labels real quick, if you were doing sheet labels or print reports real quick, you could actually open it up in this, because this is the reporting, same thing that you would see when you process your work order and go to print reports from there. But now in this case though, I want to edit the one that I just created. So down here, I'm going to go to Designer, and it's going to open up the Report Designer, which is a separate tool, and I'm going to bring it into the window here. Oh, wait. Listen to me. There we go. So here's the designer, and this looks a little bit different than what we were just looking at. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here. So this is all the code that is giving us the information for this particular report. Notice at the top here, it's labeled my 100 by 60, and it says Atom Video version 1, if you can't see. Sorry, my screen is a really wide screen, so that's why it looks really funny, and I have my Microvellum sign right there, and I have a large video of me because my screen is really wide. I tried to reconfigure it, but it wasn't possible. So you get to see more of me and less Microvellum, but hopefully it still makes sense. So you can see I have my parameters here, and then on the side here, which is really small, you're going to see some properties. And then up here I can say preview, and it's going to give me a preview of what this label looks like, which it's going to be pulling that data that we were just looking at before. So this is the preview of what it looks like. So I'm going to go back to layout, or go back to either any one of these tabs would bring you back to this view. And I want to change this. So I want to edit this information here and this information so that they're shorter and smaller. And I want to change it so that the label height has changed from the 70 inches to the 70 millimeters to the 60. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to change my page properties here, or my page setup. So I can do it in two different ways. I found I can go right up here to my page. I can go right up here to page. Hopefully you can see my cursor. That's the one. Yeah. And then I'm going to hit this little box here that's got the arrow, and it's going to bring my page setup. And then I can change the height of this page setup to 60. So this is one way to do it, and the way I'm going to do it. And I'm going to click OK, and notice these little red guys are going to move up. So they just bumped up the 10 millimeters that I changed it. And now you can see these barcodes are way off. The other way that you could do it is you can come over to this properties area here, and there's a way to change it to 60 as well. But now look, if I go to preview, what's going to happen is you're going to see that my sheets are going to be all funky. So see my sheet number 1, this nice little rectangle is right up here at the top, good margins. But as I go down, look, it's shifted down, and it's shifted down 10 millimeters, 20 millimeters, 30 millimeters, 40 millimeters, and now it's going to reset. When I get to page 6, it's going to reset. So we got some work to do there. I'm going to go back to home. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to adjust this blue area, and this is actually was throwing me for a loop before, and now I kind of figured out that this is something that needs to get adjusted. So I'm going to adjust this blue area under 4, which is position, and in this case it's about, for some reason I found that if I made it 10 millimeters less, so I'm going to say 50, it will print out correctly. When I made it a little bit bigger, it did. When I made it at 60 millimeters, it was still shifting everything. So then I need to start moving these things. Now, unfortunately, and there's definitely a reason for this, but each one of these, if I try to move this information, you can see it's just a bit of information here, and this is all coded to give us the sizes and the widths and the barcodes and all that. But if I try to move this around, it actually is not allowing me to do that. And the reason is each one of these fields is locked. So I need to adjust the ones that I want to move and unlock them. So I'm going to focus on these guys right here because I want to make them a little bit smaller, and I want to move them up. And I actually want to make these two guys a little bit smaller too. So I'm going to just click here, and I never looked at this. Enable printable. I was just curious if there's a shortcut here. I don't see one. I don't know why enabled. So I'm going to go to properties, and properties are all automatically selected. And right here on number 6, and it says design, there's one area that says locked, and right now it says true. Now I just changed it to false. So now I can move this around now, and see it's just kind of like locking in to the grid. Yeah, I was curious if this guy that said enabled was that lock, because that would make things a little bit faster for me. Align. Yeah, that stinks. Anyways, so now I'm going to just go through and I'm going to unlock each one of these. So I found if you scroll with your roller, it will do this. Now these guys, I did try to do this, and I think it worked, but I'm going to try one more time. And I'm going to go in, and right up here it says lock, and I'm going to say unlock. But for some reason last time it only did half of them, and that one worked. Looks like that one worked. That one worked. That one worked. Cool. So this looks like everything. Oh, yeah, these ones were the ones that didn't work last time. So for some reason this one didn't unlock, so I'm just going to highlight these guys. And I'm just running over here and scrolling down with my scroll wheel. And now I'm going to unlock these guys. Let's see if I can do both at the same time. So unfortunately, unlocking them is honestly the part that takes the longest. Yeah, so that worked. I'm going to highlight both of these and do unlock. I'm going to highlight both of these and do unlock. And I'm just going to verify that both of these have been unlocked. Yes, perfect. Now when I'm all done with these, I don't need to lock them back. I just need to leave them, or I just leave them be. So again, I'm going to just come in here and drop both of these down to unlock. And now I have everything that I want to move and adjust ready to move and adjust. So I'm going to first highlight the top up here, and up here right at the top it says one text, and it's got my Arial at 8. I want to change this text size to be a little bit smaller. If we want, we can go and we can preview at any time. And this is good to like get your bearings on exactly what you want to change. So this is kind of big. I can make those smaller because I am going to make these images a little bit smaller too, because I need to shift the next thing up. Oh, and you can see actually here, look, you can see because I shifted that one thing from the 65 or 70 it was, or 80 I think it was, to this. Look, all of my labels are coming in, aligning, and it's just cutting off that bottom part. So that's actually a good sign. I'll go back to home. And this is how you customize really anything. So I'm going to change this. Let's just see what happens if I change this to maybe 7. Okay, that's been changed. And you can change the font too if you really want to. You can really make these customized. When I was doing label customization before, I would actually change things to be I'm going to change this height to actually 3. It's locking into the grid right now, but I want it to be a 3 because I don't want it to be half. Okay, so now I can push this up a little. Actually, let's push this up a little. Ooh, great. Let's do left position top width. Let's make this 12. Ooh, that's not what I want. Oh, that's 112. Okay, and let's see where this goes. Perfect. So that's 12. What's this one work out to be? 15, so that's plus 3. Great. Now these guys I'm just going to shove up. I'm going to actually grab all of these at the same time, so hold that thought. So I'm going to hold my shift key and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so all these are got a highlight of blue. I want this, not the height, but I want this to be at, this top is at 20. I actually want it to be at, let's see what 19 gives us. Perfect. This guy needs to come up to 19. I'm being particular about everything, but this is one of those things that you set once, and that's the last time that you do it. So you can be particular about these things because this is your labels. So that was 3.5, and it was 19. So 19 plus 3.5 is 20. 22.5, and I'm at 25. So now that's going to butt that up. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just move these guys up. Move these up. I'm going to move this up. And I want to shrink this to, let's go with 16. I'm going to move that up and shrink this again to 16. Pop that up. Now this, if you remember, these guys just say face 5, face 6. So those are pretty much always going to say face 5, face 6. So there's that. Now last thing I have to do is grab this guy and move it up to here. And I'm going to shrink this guy down to, let's go 46. And this is the barcode associated with this one. I'm going to shrink this to 46. This is a barcode, so oops, undo that. Okay, this is going to be used. Barcode is going to be used for. So I can change it. So see the little number that it gives us. I'm just using that to tell me what's going on. And so that one's at 46. This is a barcode that would be associated if you were like doing specialty machining. So now there's that. So now I've adjusted everything and I want to make sure this is going to look good. So I'm going to go to preview. and it's going to come up and take a look. Everything is rearranged just the way I want it. I might change these, maybe it'll be a little bit smaller, but see, I have my cut size, my finish size. I got, anything that's getting edge banded. I have the optimization, how it's laid out on the nest, where the edge banding is. Phase 5, if there's phase 6 machining, we would see that label here. If the barcode, I don't think I have the barcode actually uploaded to my computer, so that's why we're not seeing the barcode text there. But you would see that if I did. And then right here are just kind of the sheet number it's on and the index, so we can see everything. So it looks good. I'm going to go back to home. At any time I can tweak this too. But right now I'm going to say, hey, this looks good. I'm going to save it because it's my own new one. And then once it's saved, I can close it. And I can close this report dialog. And in this case, I don't even need to do anything. I just need to open up that work order one more time. So I'll just say edit existing work order. It's already open. And I am going to go into part labels. No, I'm going to go into part labels here. And I might need to close this down. And I'm going to open my existing work order for this room. And it's going to come up here. Okay. And I'm going to go to labels, and I'm going to go to part labels. And right here, see this one? Part label 100 by 60 Atom video 1. I'm going to select that. I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, let's print this, or let's preview it, I mean. And here we go. And right here we have our 100 by 60 label. I've just rearranged the text on here. And I think if I were to do it again, or to take a look at it again, if I wanted to customize it more, I'd make these a little bit bigger. And I would push those down a little bit, but that's all right. So everything here, and you want to make sure that not just the first one is good, you want to make sure second, third, fourth is, which it is all the way through. So we have a new custom label in, I'm not sure how many minutes that was, but 30 minutes, but I took my time. And I don't really have to do this again now that it's been edited, and anytime I want to edit it. But first thing, before I stop the video, I am going to close this. I'm going to close the work order, and I'm going to test this to make sure that it's going to carry through for any future projects. I want to make sure it wasn't just for this particular project. So I'm going to go to projects, and I'm going to say, let's open that up. And I'm going to right click and say, let's do a new project. And in this case, I want that project to be, make this bigger here. I want it to be named the next one in my cycle, which is 114. And this is NV label test 7 video. And we'll say OK. And it's going to copy all my template stuff over, which takes a second. And then I am going to do the same, basically the same procedure that I just did, but I'm just going to test to make sure that my labels are coming in correctly. It should remember my last label. So that's fine. Save and close. Give it a second. I'm going to hit new room, test 1, or room 1. Good. Template. It's going to pull this open. I'm going to just throw a drawing in there in a second. And I'm going to draw a 2-door base. And I'm going to say, let's place a selected point. And we'll go 0, 0, 0. And it's going to pull open the prompts. And I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to say, let's process a work order from the drawing. I'm hovering over it right now. After it gets this drawn. Okay. Oop. That's not what I want. create a work order from drawing, and then I'm going to select this guy. And let's go process. Shouldn't take too long because it's just one cabinet. I'm working on a laptop right now. I'm working from home. And so my laptop's a little bit slower than my desktop. My desktop's actually quite a lot faster than my laptop. So this doesn't take too long on my laptop, but it's a heck of a lot faster on my desktop. So in about 4 or 5 more seconds, it should be done processing this. And it's going to ask me if it can open up the work order, and I do want to do that. And then I'm going to just run that so it's ready for the CNC machine, and I will check to make sure that my report has carried through to the next one. So I want to see it, and then this is there, from here on out. It's part of the project, or it's part of this library. So it's just opening this work orders up. Yeah, my computer's really going slow right now. A reboot of Microvellum would be a good thing because my computer not. Okay, so now I'm going to say, hey, I want to select all the nest, select all the parts, assign that router, hit process. It's going to process this, and then I can take a look and make sure everything worked. And if there's more tweaks, we can just go into that designer. Any other reports that we make, you can go into that report designer just like I did, unlock those entities and edit the font, edit the color, edit the placement, put in your logos. So I'm going to go to labels. I'm going to make sure that my current label is still that one, which it is. And then I'm going to go to labels and say, let's print. Preview, and always takes a sec. Did I miss it? There we go. And we are in business. We're good to go. So I've copied it. We got a new project. Everything's just the way I left it on the last project. So that is how you customize a label from an existing one, creating the size and layout that is necessary to get the job done. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for watching.